So today we are going to look at solving some more advanced inequalities. So all of these inequalities are going to have one variable, but we're going to have to do some additional maneuvering of coefficients and constants and variables to be able to solve this. So on the right side of your screen, you're going to see where I have a list of 4 things that we're going to go through on each problem. These 4 steps are going to help us to solve these linear inequalities. So the first one says to look for parentheses, and if you have any parentheses, to go ahead and use the distributive property. So in my inequality here, I noticed that I do have some parentheses, so I'm going to distribute this -1 to both pieces. That's going to give me negative m minus 8. I still have my minus 5 coming behind that, and then I have less than or equal to negative 17. The second step says combine like terms. So if I look here on the left side of the equation, this minus 8 and this minus 5 are both constants and I can combine them. So that's going to leave me with negative m, and if I put those together, I'm going to have minus 13. I still have less than or equal to negative 17. So then it says if we need to move the variable to the left side of the equation. Our variable is already on the left, so we don't need to move it. We only have that one m. We don't have any m's on the right, so we can move on to the last step, which says solve as a 2-step equation. Now when solving this 2-step equation, the first thing we want to do is get rid of anything being added or subtracted from that variable. Since we have a minus 13, we're going to do a plus 13 to both sides. That will cancel out and leave me with negative m is less than or equal to negative 4. Now the problem is I have this negative in front of my m here, so we're going to divide everything by negative 1 to get rid of that. So that's going to be m. Now, since I multiplied or divided by a negative, the rule is I have to change my symbol, so now it becomes greater than or equal to, and then negative 4 divided by negative 1 is positive 4. Okay, so again, lots of steps there, but we're going to practice a couple of these to help demonstrate this. So let's look at our next problem. Again, you're going to see over here on the right that I've got my 4 steps. The first thing that says look for parentheses, and if we see them, to use distributive property. I don't have any parentheses here, so I'm going to go on and start looking for any like terms that I can combine. So on the left side of the equation, I don't have any like terms, but if I look on the right side, I have a 17 and a minus 14 that are both constants, and I can put them together. So on the left side of the equation, it's going to stay the same. 18p minus 12 is less than, so I'm going to combine 17 and minus 14, and that's going to give me a positive 3, and then I have 3 plus 17p. The next thing says move the variable to the left side. I actually have my variable on both sides. I have an 18p on the left and a 17p on the right. So to move that 17p to the left, I have to do minus 17p because I have to do the opposite. 18p minus 17p is going to leave me with just 1p. So I have p minus 12 is less than 3. And the 17p and the minus 17p canceled out. So now it says solve as a 2-step equation. So in order to solve this, again, the goal is to get p by itself. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. And that's going to leave me with p as less than 15. And since I don't have anything being multiplied by p, that is my final step. Okay, let's move on to our third example. So in this example here, again, I'm going to follow these steps. First thing says look for parentheses, and if so, distribute. I don't have any parentheses, so now I'm going to look for any like terms that I can combine. So if I look at the left side of my equation, I've got a negative 18 and a minus 7 that I can put together. If I combine those, that's going to give me negative 25. I still have my minus 10d following that. Then I have my less than or equal to. Then I'm going to just simply copy that line, or that right side of the equation right down here on this line. There's nothing else to combine here. So now it says let's move the variable to the left. So I have a negative 10d on the left and a negative 5d on the right. So we're going to take that negative 5d and we're going to do plus 5d to move it over to the right side of the equation. So I still have my negative 25 in front. Negative 10d plus 5d is going to be negative 5d, less than or equal to, and then I have 15 that I'm going to bring down on the right side there. So now it says solve as a two-step equation. So when we're solving a two-step equation, our goal is to isolate the variable. We have to get rid of any addition or subtraction first. So this minus 25 in the front here, I'm going to do plus 25 to move it over to the right. That leaves me with negative 5d. I have less than or equal to, and then 15 plus 25 is going to give me 40. My last step is to get rid of this negative 5 that's in front of that d. Since it's being multiplied, I'm going to divide. So then I have d. Now, because I divided by a negative, we have to remember our symbol has to change direction. So it's going to become greater than or equal to, and 40 divided by negative 5 is negative 8. All right, again, I'm going to follow these steps for one more example. This is our last example to look at. Let me scroll on down here just a little bit. All right, step 1 says look for any parentheses and distribute. And sure enough, I have parentheses, and I've got a negative 5 that's out in front there. So I have to distribute it to both pieces inside the parentheses. So the left side of my equation, the 16x and the less than are going to stay the same. I'm going to take negative 5 times negative 4x. That's going to give me 20x. I'm going to take negative 5 times negative 17, which is going to give me a positive 85. And then I have this plus x here on the end. So that was the first step, was just to distribute. Then it says combine like terms. Well, the left side only has one term, so there's nothing to combine there. But on the right side, I've got a 20x and I have a plus x. I can put those together. So I have 16x is less than 21x plus 85. All right, so now we're down to step 3. It says move the variable to the left side of the equation. So I'm going to take this, positive 21x, and I'm going to do minus 21x to move it over to the left side. So 16x minus 21x is negative 5x. There's my less than symbol. And now the only thing on the right side is 85. So when I'm solving as a two-step equation, I actually only have a one-step equation now. And that one step that we have to get rid of is this negative 5. And we're going to divide because that negative 5 is being multiplied by x. Again, when we multiply or divide by a negative, our symbol has to change direction. So this less than, boom, becomes a greater than. And 85 divided by negative 5 is going to give me negative 17.